there's so much loneliness that there's a constant um, pull towards bustle and busyness and adding stuff to your plate, and that leads to eventual burnout because you're actually not searching or acknowledging the fact that you are feeling lonely, and you're putting crap on your plate just so that you're distracting yourself from.
The way you redefine loneliness, like I said, is by redefining what you do when loneliness arises. It doesn't have to be, that you're defective. It doesn't have to be that there is something wrong with you for feeling lonely. Everybody feels lonely. Hey, everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. I hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 302. No is a complete sentence. For today, number 303, Motivation Monday, redefining loneliness. My dear friend, this was your suggestion. So, do you want to get us started?
Let's get started. So, I am someone who, at this point, if you're now joining us in the 3.0 era of Evolve. And
Schwelt.
welcome. Yeah, we should welcome you. And for all of those who have been evolving with us through this thing, you will have learned that I am someone who really has had to redefine loneliness for myself and what that looks like, and has been on a constant journey of accepting what my version of loneliness is in contrasting to what that might mean with others. And I'm someone who actually really at this point almost prefers my own company and loves solitude. And I recognize that that's not the case for so many people. And this episode really was birthed out of the honest dialogue that I want to have around what I wish I could give, which is that gift of loving your own company and really enjoying how the process is when you redefine what loneliness means to you. The really fullness and joy and wholesomeness that I experience, I wish I could gift that to everyone, because it's been a process of self-gardening that not everyone accesses in the journey of your inner world, exploring what your inner world is. And I just feel like I almost have a gift that I feel guilty for, because so many people in conversations that I have had feel like they can't access it, or it's inaccessible to them. And we don't want to propagate, to use the term that you shared, B, the BS around, well, just love yourself and you'll eventually, not be lonely, or whatever that is. And we don't want to propagate that. However, I do want to have a dialogue around this, a light one, that starts to shift in any way that someone's listening to this, a way that's more into the concept, the experience that I and other people like myself has really started to gain value from, which is loneliness doesn't have to be lonely. As a matter of fact, it can be a whole different, almost spiritual, connective to our own emotional tissues that maybe we didn't have just yet. So that's kind of how I wanted to open this.
I think it's really hard when you're talking about loneliness because there have been so many messages around the concept of, well, just learn to love yourself and then you won't be lonely. And the only people who are lonely are people who don't have a solid relationship to self. And it's like,
Yeah.
that is not true. That is
Mm.
absolutely not true. I have a pretty good relationship to self, better than it's ever been. And I still get lonely.
See?
And the message that I really want everyone listening here to take away is it's okay to be lonely. You're
Yeah.
not defective and there's not something wrong with you if you're experiencing loneliness.
Hmm.
That's the BS message that I think people have been trying to say, and I think it comes from a good place. I think
Yeah.
that message stemmed from a place of not wanting people to feel the pain and the sadness and the negative feelings that are associated with loneliness, but I don't think it's serving. I
Mhm.
think what would serve more is embracing those feelings.
I
Like,
agree.
okay, I feel lonely. I'm
Mhm.
feeling this certain type of way. What does this mean?
Right?
What does loneliness mean to me? What do I
Mhm.
want that I don't feel like I have, that maybe I can use this solitude time to explore and to process through? How can I use this emotion
Right.
rather than what most of us do, which is being consumed by the emotions that we experience, developing negative narratives towards them, and then that develops into negative feelings and thoughts and beliefs.
Or reject them entirely and cut yourself off from them, which, a
Absolutely.
lot of what we're sharing in this podcast is how I so deeply feel and what's been my experience and why I'm able to have the fulfillment, the joy, the wholesomeness that I do. That doesn't mean that I don't get lonely. That doesn't mean that I don't experience loneliness. However, the way in which I respond to it, it's like a garden. I call it the self garden that we have. And it
Mm,
is the process of getting curious, which what you just described, getting curious about your own experience that gives you kind of the trailheads to navigate your inner world a little bit differently than cutting yourself
yes.
off from it or rejecting it.
The way you can redefine loneliness is by utilizing it as a signal.
Yeah.
That's really what I've done. Whenever I start to feel that deep ping of loneliness, I'm like, "Oof, there's something
Hmm.
I gotta process through. There's something I
Yeah.
gotta work through." And so what I've been doing lately is I'll meditate through it. I'll
Hmm.
put music on and I will just breathe my way through it and let whatever thoughts are coming up, just letting them come up rather than what most of us do, which is fight it.
Yeah.
Because loneliness usually leads to, if we're thinking about it from a mental health standpoint, a lot of the time loneliness correlates with, self-harm or suicidal ideation or, severe burdensomeness or emptiness or whatever. That's just been my experience with clients. And we're so afraid of that that we reject it at all costs, to use what you were saying, or
Mhm.
we run away from it
Or what I
instead of,
found from some of my clients, just to add to that, there's so much loneliness that there's a constant um, pull towards bustle and busyness and adding stuff to your plate. And that leads to eventual burnout because you're actually not
yes.
searching or acknowledging the fact that you are feeling lonely and you're putting crap on your plate just so that you're distracting yourself from. And that's, you can consider that a version of self harm. But like, that's
I
what I
totally
see
agree.
a lot of. Yeah.
Yeah, you're overcompensating.
Yeah.
You're overcompensating for that feeling by trying to outwork your loneliness, and it's not adaptive. It's not helpful. It's not going to take the feeling away, because when your head hits the pillow at the end of the night, you still have that feeling.
Yeah.
The way you redefine loneliness, like I said, is by redefining what you do when loneliness arises.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be, that you're defective. It doesn't have to be that there is something wrong with you for feeling lonely. Everybody feels lonely.
Mhm.
What do you want to do when that feeling comes up? This ties back to the emotions aren't bad.
Right.
It is not a bad thing. It's a signal.
Mhm.
What do you want the signal to mean? For me, it's meant I need to change my behavior. It means that I need to start getting around people more. I need to fill my environment, my actual physical environment,
Mhm.
with things that make this feel more like a home than a um just like a four walls.
Yeah.
It's I've transitioned it to mean go deeper,
Yeah.
and it's
That's always been my
really
response too.
helped.
Yeah. Well, because you're starting to really see that inner world of yours as like a garden, and like someone needs to steward that inner garden of yours, and you're starting to be that person for you, which is, I think, a really beautiful process. And
Yeah.
similarly, like for example, like I have a lot of family nearby within driving's distance. And it's almost like there's that guilty feeling because I'm not necessarily going and seeing them all the time, because that's not necessarily like what fills me up, and that's
Mhm.
okay. That doesn't mean that I don't get lonely and I don't miss them and I don't crave interactions with them. Okay, so what can I do? What is the redefinition around that I can garden, and how can I navigate the self exploration of like what is contributing to this? What is the narratives? What are the beliefs that are underneath this that are contributing to that
Mhm.
sense of or feeling of loneliness? Is there behavior that can change and does need to change for me to feel differently in a way in which I want to? Or is there just a way of thinking about this that I can navigate within thyself and my parts to really create more acceptance for this and create space for this? Because I'm not like the type of person who, when I feel loneliness, I just want to rush it out the door. Like you said, it's an opportunity to go deeper and self explore. And I think that
Mhm.
that is the difference between solitude and loneliness really comes down to a welcoming and acceptance of it and a willingness to self garden and to go deeper. So, um, I think
I just
redefining
wanna
loneliness can serve us all.
just one thing, even if you are the kind of person that loneliness is a signal to bust out the door, that's okay.
Yeah.
Process it.
No.
Where is this coming from? Why do I feel like I have to run away right now? Why do I feel like I have to go bust out and go do something and get around people? What is
Right.
it that's actually missing? Because when you can identify what's actually missing, you can actually find things that will remedy it. So, you going to see your family does not remedy that feeling of loneliness. But if you just, every time you felt lonely, went and saw your family, it wouldn't actually fix it. Or not fix it, I'm sorry. It wouldn't actually help work through that feeling.
Yeah. And maybe
Whereas, like,
that there's something missing, B. Maybe there's just something that you're not seeing within yourself that needs to be seen, heard, valued, validated.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I added that there because I think that is the thing for a lot of people. Like, I know that's that for me. Every time I feel that, I'm like, oh my God, I should go see somebody. It's like,
Right.
hold on,
Right.
hold on. Are they actually going to give you the feeling you're looking for?
Right.
Probably not. Okay, what else can I do instead to help me feel okay right now? And
Right.
then I actually give myself what I need.
Right. So important. So, so important. So, if this is you, you're not alone. Everyone goes through a different version of this. And I think that we can
Oh,
share it
yeah.
in that collective experience really beautifully, actually. I think that there's a lot of gold here and there's a lot of joy on the other side of exploring thyself in this. My episode suggestion, if you like this episode, is to go to 273 Motivation Monday. Again, what can you remove to add when you create a little bit more space within your life? You can explore a little bit deeper, or you have the capacity usually. And I found that to be very helpful for myself and other people.
Very good.
Thank you.
Mine is number 268. This fear is holding you back. All right, everybody, go crush your week, and we'll see you next time. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.